Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. We're here going to be doing another garage review, and this will be of the FV215b 183, the infamous Death Star. Um, why is it called that? We'll soon find out. But this is the pinnacle of the British tank destroyer line. This until the second line of British tank destroyers was introduced, at least, and this. Has got the biggest gun in the game, just about, and it is, of course, the Tier 10 British tank destroyer. So let's have a look at it. Starting off with 1,910 HP, which is not too bad, considering it's only, what's that, about 200 HP off of the FV215b, which is a Tier 10 heavy tank, compared to like the 121b, which has got 1,910. It does not have that much HP, but then we look at it compared to the other Death Star, well, which isn't quite the Death Star, but we have a look at the other British tank destroyer, which has got 1,800 HP. We look at the Jagdpanzer E100, which has got 2,000 HP. We look at, where's the American fixed turret tank destroyer? I think it's the 110E3, which has got 1,800 as well. And then we look at, let's have a look at the Foch 155, which has got 1,850. So it's got about Tier 10 medium tank level of HP, and it's not too far off of the British Tier 10 heavy tank. It's not as much. It's less than the 100 most certainly, but it's still a decent enough amount of HP. That's quite a lot of HP, because something that the British tank destroyers have been known for, at least this top line, that the British tank destroyers have been known for, is A, thick armour, which sort of disappears with this one, but also high HP in terms of their tank type, because traditionally in World of Tanks and World of Tanks Blitz and all of the run-offs, tank destroyers have had the least amount of HP, but with typically the best guns, and that hasn't really this has changed a bit with the Death Star, which has got 1,950 HP, 1,910, which, the same as a Tier 10 medium tank, so not too shabby in that regard. As for armour, however, not as good. 127 for the front of the turret, 101 side, 76 rear, 127 for the front of the hull, 50 side, 76 rear. It really is not very good armour compared to, for example, the 215B, which has got 152 frontal hull armour. Even though these tanks do look very similar, in fact they look practically identical from the front, except for this, except for the 215B has got a slightly thinner hull compared to the Death Star, which has got a much wider hull. It's a rather thick tank. It looks the same, but the armour has been reduced in order to fit the massive gun, I would imagine. And the armour is not as good as some of the other tank destroyers as well. 200 for the front of the Jagdpanzer E100, being it is a Jagdpanzer E100. 203 frontal turret, 254 frontal hull for the 110E4. Foch has got 180 and it's sloped. All of these things, the WZ 230 frontal hull, it really is not as well armoured as any of the other Tier 10 tank destroyers. It's probably the least armoured, apart from the wafer-thin tanks, such as the Grill or the new FV215b, which has got 14 turret and 76 hull, which is laughable at Tier 10. It really does not have that much armour when you're looking at it that way. You can get some bounces off of the front, which you will see, no doubt, only if you're extremely angled, though, like this, and it hits the front of this hull here, this plate, which is pretty much at that point an auto bounce. So, you're not going to be stopping any shots in this tank like you might be able to in the FV, or you certainly can in the German heavies. You're not going to be stopping shells in this tank. The armour is pretty terrible. 250 meters view range, nothing too spectacular about that, being that it is the standard view range of tanks in Blitz, I think. Maneuverability, not too bad. It's not as bad as like the Jagdpanzer E100, but it's certainly not mobile like the FV4005 or that WZ in the Chinese line. Average speed 19. It's not as slow as the mouse, not as fast as the 121, let's say. Pound to weight is only 13.3 horsepower per tonne, which again not as bad as some of the other tank destroyers, but not as good as some of the other tank destroyers as well. Notably, you know, the Grill 15, the WZ, or other things like that. Turret traverse as well, not that great, 16.69, but then it is a limited traverse turret. Hull traverse is just under, just under 30 degrees per second, which is sort of like the medium for like heavy tank destroyers and heavy tanks, which is not too bad. It's still not particularly great. 800 horsepower engine, being a Rolls-Royce Meteor Mark 12 engine, which nothing too interesting of that. But then we come to, of course, the main gun, which oh boy, is this something to behold. The 183mm L4 gun, which is a monster, weighs 60 tons. A 60-ton gun, which in comparison to, let's say, a Panzer II, let's say, how much does a Panzer II weigh? Where is it? Weight. It's going to be down here. Weight, 9.68 ton. It weighs more than 6 Panzer IIs. And that's the gun alone. That's one pretty big gun. I mean, look at it compared to that. There's no comparison. Look at that. Massive. Not quite so massive. There is no bigger gun in the game than this gun. You know, that's got a 123. The next biggest gun is probably on the Jagdpanzer E100, which is a 170mm gun, which is still a monster, but not quite a monster as this gun, which has earned it the name. The Death Star. Yeah, the Foch has got a pretty standard 120 or 155, but this has got a 183. It is a Death Star. If we look at it, 5.6 second aim time, which is pretty slow. 0.38 accuracy, which is not that great. A 2,800 DPM, but with a nearly 20-second reload. However, 310 average pen with armor piercing, 220 with premium high explosive, and 92 with regular high explosive. HESH is what the British tend to use, so this is going to be HESH. 220 with premium HESH. That's pretty good. That's about 30mm of pen off of the 128 Kampfwagen cannon on the mouse. Yeah, that's nothing to laugh at. And it's HE. It does 130 average damage. 930 average damage with AP. 1,300 with the two different high explosives. It's a monster. 15 gun elevation, 5 gun depression. You're not going to be doing ridge fighting in this thing. It's really terrible. Concealment is also very terrible as well for this tank. It's a massive tank. But still, 1,300 damage. You can obliterate grills in a single shot if you get a good damage roll. Because don't forget, that's average damage. Will it tell me? Yeah. The peak damage, 1,600 damage with a single shot of high explosive. The mouse has only got 2,500 HP. If you manage to somehow penetrate this tank with premium high explosive, which has got the most pen, notably the lower glacis, 2 shots from this thing and the mouse is dead if it does max damage, or even relatively high damage for that HE shell through that lower glacis. That's one heck of a lot of damage. And yeah, carries 15 rounds of ammunition. If you really, really wanted to, you could load this thing up with premium high explosive and obliterate anything that stands in your way. Not even that, you could just load it up with regular high explosive, the same as you would in a 152 for a KV2. And you could just go ham on the tanks at your tier. I mean, you can get through, what can you get through? You can get through the side armour of a 121b with regular high explosive and do about 2/3 of its health gone. You could get through the sides of a hull of a chieftain. Get through the sides of most tanks. The only problems that you'll have is with E100s, but even then, regular, even then with premium high explosive, you could shoot the angled front of the E100. Remember, splash damage, high explosive doesn't work like armor piercing. It won't just bounce. It'll do damage. It'll likely penetrate as well. This upper glacis, it'll penetrate and get rid of 2/3 of this tank's health. It's pretty crazy. Hence why it's called the Death Star. Because it'll just obliterate anything it touches. Tracks are still a bit of a problem, but you can still do a solid like 600 damage even with splash damage from this thing. It is a beast. No one wants to come up against the front of this thing. But it is slow, and it does have a limited traverse turret. And I don't know if it tells you here. Don't think it does. Oh no, 45 degrees left and right. So yeah, it can shoot to pretty much here and pretty much over here for its frontal cone, which is a pretty good frontal cone, I have to say. And yeah, it is a beast. And like I said, 15 rounds of ammo, which is not that much when you think about it, but for a 20-second reload time, for just shy of 3 rounds a minute, you're not going to be firing off all 15 rounds of this in the allotted 7 minutes, and that's if your gun is loaded at the start of the battle and you start firing from then. You just hold down the trigger, just shoot whenever. You're still not going to run out of ammo. So 15 rounds is a low amount, but it is offset by the massive reload of this tank. So yeah, you can balance those as you wish. You can take all premium HE, you can take some armor, all of it armor piercing, you can take all of it regular HE. If you're poverty economy. Poverty economy at tier 10. I think a lot of people find that. But yeah, so there's that. Provisions, you've got, of course, standard and improved fuel for 3 and 10% respectively to engine power turret traverse. Black tea and pit tea and pudding for 3 and 10% respectively to crew mastery. This is a good idea on this tank, not only because you get slight bust to the hull and turret traverse, but you also get a slightly better reload time. You can get it down to, what would that be? I think probably about a 17-second reload, maybe 17.5-second reload, which is 3 seconds shorter than it would normally be. So there is that. And then of course you've got protective kit, which is all of those things. And then you've got consumables. You've got, of course, your standard repair, first aid, fire. You've got engine power boost for 20% to engine power for 15 seconds, 20% to low speed, and 10% chance of damaging enemy vehicle modules with adrenaline. Good idea on this tank, not only because if you're firing high explosive, you will wreck things, and the extra module damage will wreck things even harder. Plus, of course, extra load speed is always going to be a bonus with a 183. And then you've got your multi-purpose, which is those 3 rolled into 1. So you've got all that. You have, of course, got the legendary camo, which is the hammer, which is what we have got on here right now, which makes it all look very nice like this, with nice British, tank emblems right there. And then, of course, this is how it would look with any sort of normal camo. But of course, we want the crisp-looking camo like this with a funny, I think, urban style camo on it, which is it just makes it look very nice and crisp and fresh. And then, of course, we come to equipment. Gun rammer is a must on this tank. It will decrease the reload time to less than 20 seconds, which is, pretty impressive. You don't want to be sitting there for a full 20 seconds. I mean, near 20 seconds is better, at least. And then improved modules for the extra track durability for the most part, and of course ammo rack durability. If you get your ammo rack damaged and you get a loader injured and you don't have a repair kit or a first aid kit, you will have about a minute reload. Yeah, not something you want. And then camo net. I mean, I've tried putting a camo net on here. It likely won't make a difference, so coated optics is probably going to be the thing you want. Enhanced gun lane drive is a yes, definitely. Decrease the aim time, and you do want to be stationary in this tank because you want every shot you fire to hit, more so than in most other tanks, because 20-second reload, you don't want to be missing those shots. So you want to spend time to aim. So enhanced gun lane drive is a definite. Improved assembly for the extra HP. You could argue for enhanced armor, but in the long run, improved assembly is going to be more important to you in this tank, because the armor is not spectacular at tier 10, so you will get a few more lucky bounces perhaps with enhanced armor, but not enough to value decreasing the HP pool. I mean, it would be, what's this, about 1800 HP, but with improved assembly it goes up to a nice amount, so you've got that. And then you've got improved control definitely for the hull traverse. You want that over engine accelerator, mostly just because of the hull traverse. And then you want enhanced gun or gun lane drive. Sorry. You do want refined gun. There you go, refined gun. Get that aim time down from 4.2 seconds. From 0.42 to 0.38. I'm muddling up everything. But yeah, you want refined gun to decrease that dispersion, basically. Get it down from, like I said, 0.42, which is Russian 122 accuracy, to refined gun, which would be 0.38. And let's just move away from refined gun now, because I'm not Englishing good with that. And then enhanced tracks again for letting your suspension repair itself and save you having to repair. You burn a repair kit to get it back up. And then of course your choice of those last two consumables. So overall, it is a good tank, yes. It does have numerous flaws and weaknesses, notably the long aim time, the long reload time, the pretty crap armor for tier 10, and overall slowness and the giganticness of it. Mediums will circle around you quite easily, but of course that is all offset by the gun. If this thing didn't have the gun on it, no one would drive it, I can assure you that much. The only reason people drive the Death Star is for the gun. The same as why everyone loves the Death Star in Star Wars, because of the main armament. If it didn't have that massive dish laser, no one would want it, because it's otherwise a massive target, which could have been done by simply loads and loads of Star Destroyers, but hey, that's Star Wars. This is the Death Star, and using that gun is definitely a very easy way of racking up damage, and it is a very easy way of having fun, especially when it connects. You can use it as a tank destroyer, you can use it as an assault gun, limited turret traverse, but in city environments you can trade one-on-one and you'll likely come out on top if they don't push. So it's great for fear tactics. It can probably hold down an avenue just with its presence there, because no one wants to get hit by this. But yeah, overall, very fun tank. Does have its drawbacks, as does most things, but overall, not too bad of a tank. And of course, it does have the biggest gun in the game to go for it, so there is that. So yeah, I'll thank you for watching, and goodbye.